Hello there friends, CSGO Live here. In today's video, Astralis go all in on some huge changes, Furia's international roster keeps expanding, and we've got the results from the IEM Melbourne Groups stage, plus a bunch of other exciting news from the world of CS2. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. We shall kick things off with another pretty surprising roster move, because Furia decided to go all in once again, proving that their international lineup is no joke. This time it's Skulls who's out, and Yekindar steps in, which honestly definitely caught people off guard, even those who believed in rumors. Ever since his move to Liquid, Yekindar's performance has taken a hit, but according to Furia's founder, this is exactly the kind of player they've been missing. He brings aggression, experience, and can be a vocal presence in mid-round calls. The key is just to use him the right way. But apart from that, there's a big plus, because the adaptation process will be smoother both to Molodoi and Yekindar, as they speak Russian. Both players will be helping each other to settle in, which should make adjusting to the new environment a bit easier. Now, the last thing we want to know if Simple will really join Furia, at least on loan. Imagine if it happens, that'd be crazy. Also, Virtus.pro have made another change to their coaching staff. This time they say goodbye to Pasha Noj. In their official statement, the organization said that the team needs a different coaching perspective in light of the current goals. Many fans believe that this change is tied to Electronic, whose unexpected arrival at Virtus.pro was followed by constant shakeups behind the scenes. In fact, this marks the third coach to leave the team in just over the year. The CIS insider Overdrive didn't hold back. He said that the VP's management showed the true face by replacing the coach right before the biggest tournament of the year, instead of waiting until it was over and reviewing the results properly. The name of VP's new coach wasn't announced yet, but we're likely to find out it very soon. Maybe they will bring back Dastan? I don't know. And since we're talking about the CIS region, things aren't looking great for other bears, or should I say raccoons. 9 Pandas have officially disbanded their CS2 roster. The most interesting part here is that, once again, Overdrive was in the middle of it all. When the first rumors popped up, he claimed that the org was going bankrupt, saying that their main sponsor was pulling out and terminating the contract. That didn't sit well with 9 Pandas management, and they fired back with a public statement denying all the claims, explaining their side of the story in detail. Overdrive later apologized for spreading false info, but couldn't help pointing out the irony that the team disbanded just one day afterwards. If you didn't get it, 9 Pandas have disbanded the CS2 roster, but as the org itself, they're still alive. Their CEO said, I will quote, "exciting times ahead." As for the players, well, they're free to join any team. Honestly, my friends, out of all the recent roster moves, Astralis might have been the boldest one yet, because they officially benched Cadian. Yeah bros, Cadian, the one who couldn't bring stability, who became source of reputational risks, and was at the center of many of the team's internal issues, as it turns out. Replacing him is Hooxi. The Danish IGL will take over at the upcoming event in Astana, which will serve as a trial run for him. Hooxi says he's excited to return to the server and hopes not to let the fans down. Cadian simply said that these are interesting times and confirmed that he's been benched, but he also said that he will explain more later. According to Flom, the famous streamer, Cadian might not return at all, citing mental health treatment as the main reason. Considering all the previous stories that Cadian was suffering, well, we just wish him the best of luck and speedy recovery. Although most of the scene reacted positively to the change, noting how hardworking Hooxi is and how he might actually turn things around for Astralis. Kassad, however, was the loudest critic. He said this is the last thing Astralis should be doing before a total collapse. Meanwhile, Yang thinks that it's time to move on from Cadian and focus on the new chapter with Hooxi. On top of that, I have to mention that Astralis also parted ways with their sports director, Straub. This is the guy they signed from Heroic 3 years ago, together with Stavn and Yabi. Maybe this all was Heroic's inside job to ruin Astralis from the inside. Anyways, there's no word yet on who will take the role. But with just a little more than 2 weeks left until their next event, we'll see what Giga Chad manages to bring to the table. Guys, don't forget to discuss the Astralis situation in the comments below, because it's a hot topic. Also, former Na'Vi captain BOOMBL4 recently gave a candid interview where he revealed some major personal and career moments, including details about a surgery he had, and the drama around Simple and Na'Vi. First off, BOOMBL4 shared how he lost so much weight. He said that it was because he cut 70% of his stomach, and without the operation his weight would still be around 180 kilograms or even higher. According to BOOMBL4, the procedure was risky and potentially life-threatening, which is why he never spoke about it publicly until now. The operation happened last summer, and he had a really rough recovery period. He also said it was better to take the risk of the operation, because his overweight was basically lethal for him. The interview also touched on Na'Vi and some behind-the-scenes drama. It turns out that there may have been a conflict between Simple and the organization, though BOOMBL4 couldn't go into details. He suggested that both the conflict and Simple's contract are the reasons why we haven't seen Simple join another team yet, only Falcons on loan. BOOMBL4 added that Simple still wants to compete, and during his short stint with Falcons he actually showed promise, but it's unclear what team, if any, he will join next. Finally, BOOMBL4 reflected on what happened after he was kicked from Na'Vi. He said that he tried everything to get transferred to another team, but he claims the organization deliberately avoided putting him on the transfer list, basically making him stay with the team for another 9 months. BOOMBL4 also said that he doesn't understand the reason behind it. But my friends, I guess the most important thing is that BOOMBL4 said that he is happy right now. He's trying to get back to tier 1 and he's working on it, and he believes that everything will be great. And I guess it's cool. We wish him the best of luck. Well, now let's move on to the results of IEM Melbourne Groups stage. The situation here is quite interesting. Round 1 started according to a rather classic scenario. First, Vitality won against FlyQuest without any problems. Liquid beat Virtus.pro, Na'Vi gave 1 map to MIBR, Mouse also gave 1 map to BIG, but they recovered faster. 3D Max lost to Gamer Legion in the first match. FaZe beat Pain, and the Mongols, not without difficulties, coped with complexity. And Falcons destroyed Saw in the first match, where m0NESY did quite well. As Ilya himself admitted after the match, he's mainly just happy to play with Nico. And m0NESY also admitted that since the time of Na'Vi Jr., he always wanted to play with Zonic. Round 2, though, was a little more interesting. So first, FlyQuest shockingly beat Virtus.pro, knocking them out of the tournament. In the same way, MIBR knocked out Saw, and BIG and Pain left the tournament as well, after losing to Complexity and 3D Max respectively. In the upper bracket, the situation was also super fun. Mouse won against Gamer Legion, and the Mongols destroyed FaZe. In the upper bracket of Group B, it was different though. Vitality first took out Liquid without even feeling their opponent, but then the real match of the day began, Na'Vi versus Falcons. It all started on Inferno, Falcons' pick. At first, Falcons dominated, especially in defense, where they were 7-1. But by the end of the first half, Na'Vi pulled themselves together and brought it to 7-5. However, after the side switch, everything changed, and Na'Vi won almost 8 in a row, taking the first map. Next was Mirage, Na'Vi's pick.
4 for him and oh my god! J Legend, alright! What is that? m0NESY, last one standing. 2 bullets cut through his teammates like a hot knife through butter. Can m0NESY be the one to deliver this? Gets past Wonderful, but is there stopping JL? With the hot hands he currently possesses, m0NESY will!
And it was so easy for them. 11-3 in favor of Nada's Vincery. It was almost done. Falcons were on the verge of tilt and losing the map and the series. But with the arrival of m0NESY, something changed. They decided to fight to the end. Surprisingly, Na'Vi just broke in defense, and Nico calmly went behind the supports, and it was decided.
Goes fishing, looks for that first kill, it's JL to reclaim it. 2 kills from him out towards the spawn. Na'Vi, this is the best position they've been in yet. The best spot they've been in a long time. And Modesty looking to take it all away.
Default
in the 1v1, but Modesty puts on a clinic.
Now, in a blink of an eye, Falcons took the map 13-11. I remind you, it was 11-3 previously. What a huge comeback. Dust 2 was to put an end to this confrontation. First, Nico had a glorious ace on B.
Mad, they're not ready for Nico. Gotta get out cleanly with that one. Fresh M4 picked up. Nico still going, not stopping, not slowing down. Third gun, third weapon switch, and even more. Nico with all 5. That's a Nico!
You could have seen Na'Vi players completely tilted. Then Falcons just continued pushing and took an absolutely deserved victory. As it turned out after the match, the victory in Mirage and the success itself happened mostly because of the young captain. As Zonic said, when the score was 11-3, he didn't agree with Kixon's idea. He was going to press another pause and push his own tactics, but then decided to trust the IGL. And as you can see from the result, Kixon was right. Meanwhile, in the lower bracket, FaZe met with 3D Max, where Kerrigan and the gang turned out to be stronger. In addition, Gamer Legion won against Complexity, and then they faced FaZe Clan in a tough lower bracket final. Guess what, guys? GL took the first map after 2 rounds of overtimes, and then they just closed it out. 2-0. Kerrigan seemed really upset. Meanwhile, in the upper bracket, Mouse clashed with the Mongols in finals. It was all about Spinks, though, who got a whopping 1.55 rating. So, as you can guess, Mouse won. In Group B, the lower bracket was also quite interesting. After all, FlyQuest were very close to winning against Na'Vi, but still, Alexibi's team turned out to be stronger. In the second semi-final of the lower bracket, Liquid and MIBR clashed. It was a success for Sui. In the upper bracket finals of Group B, Vitality met Falcons. Before the match, Zonic said that their main problem was fear. If you don't consider Vitality to be obviously stronger, you can win, he said. Well, let's watch. Despite the fact that the teams were going cheek to cheek, Vitality took the first map, especially considering that Zaivu was absent there. Mezzi had to carry the whole game himself. Then it was Inferno, Vitality's pick. The Bees showed why they're the favorites of any tournament of 2025.
10 seconds and now...
Oh God! They're gonna lose. That's insane.
No! Modesty, there's a few seconds left on this, but he can't find it!
Way.
Oh, God!
We wanted to save!
They were going to save. They're right. Magic's being there did just cost them everything. That one kill brought them back in.
That's a gargantuan choke.
In the end, Vitality turned out to be stronger. Anyone doubted them? I thought so. Still, for the first tournament with the new roster, it was a great result for Falcons. Few teams can impose a game like that on Vitality. In the finals of the lower bracket, Liquid fought against Na'Vi, and, well, here we saw pure comedy. After exchanging picks, the teams switched to the decider, Ancient. Liquid easily got to 7-1. Then, Ultimate had some critical misses, and Na'Vi somehow managed to get to 7-5. After the side switch, Liquid's dominance continued, but with the same misses from Ultimate. Still, even this didn't help Na'Vi to come back. They, unfortunately, left the tournament. As a result, Gamer Legion will play against Falcons in the playoffs, and the Mongols will meet with Liquid in the semifinals. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button to follow the channel and leave a comment below. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.